Our next poet is Larissa Andrusician. Larissa completed an MA in English and Creative Writing at Concordia. Her work has recently been shortlisted for the 3 Max Carte Blanche Prize and Arc Magazine's Poem of the Year. Her first book, Mammoth, published by DC Books in 2010, was a finalist for the Cobzar Literary Award and the Quebec Writers Federation First Book Prize. Her second collection, Proof, also published by DC Books last year, was released this winter. She facilitates creative writing workshops for at-risk youth in Montreal. Larissa Andrusician.
So thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Hugh, for the invitation. I'm so sorry to change the language to English. I feel so awkward now speaking English. So I'm going to read from my second book. These are mostly portraits, heartbroken people, mathematicians, bugs, and this is Elvis. Elvis in the Madam's house. Like a childhood cat, I have become something you had once loved. The thrift store find is all rhinestones and Liberace glitter. This is my third act. Beneath my coat, I wear a layer of strangers' fingerprints in soft focus wax. Look for me, next to the crowds who take photographs of their heads in the mouth of Siegfried's tiger. This Trousseau's house has bent me permanently, posed me like a servant kneeling on the ever-lit stage with a soundtrack that plays an endless loop of thank yous. Somewhere there is a place like Tupelo, where the mantels are lined with collector's plates and clocks that shimmy and sing with my face every hour on the hour. My hometown has no memory of a life before me. But here I've been poured, shaped, and kept safe in the business hours. Topsy the Elephant, Coney Island, 1903. I invoke you to return, to darken my door like a patient in the wards, to wander sick, calling out the crime. Repetition is the schizophrenic's crutch. Edison appears in your dreams as a rat holding 2 electrodes in his teeth. Smuggled, long-lashed, and train-wrecked, you are indentured, obey, even as a man throws a lit cigar in your mouth. Now, how many elephants can swallow fire? Or be the torch the inventor ignites his career on? The inconvenient elephant sold from under the billowing big top to spill the mystery of electricity like a confession. If you told the story, they'd call you mad. Death Row began as a circus sideshow, the electric chair pictured by every mumbling murderer. Topple a giant with an alternating current. Your last meal, carrots laced with potassium cyanide. The audience knows nothing of life or limb, the loveless trainers and the silence that you took with you. So Edison electrocuted an elephant one time. So the last section of my book is mostly portraits of insects. So I hope you'll be on board with that. This is the dung beetle. In the desert, your compass is cast skyward for a night that pulls its collar tight. Scientists place cardboard hats on beetles to cover the dorsal eyes, obscure the Milky Way. Stars are points on the chart, light fixtures like crumbs dropped on the path. Polaris for dead reckoning, but with nothing to draw a dotted line from. Wouldn't you know they trample each other, go in circles disoriented like drunks? When life hands you lemons, remember, you hatched in dung. Underrated shit kicker, sheath-winged stargazer, You make a world of it, a brooding ball. Like Atlas, the sky is a map on your shoulders, rolling across the desert, manning the observatory alone. The diving bell spider. You would expect despair, a glacier-fed, submerged heartbreak. A girl tossed overboard drops anchor. With nothing familiar, look how she spins a life underwater. It's not alchemy, but a silk bell, and her breath makes a chamber. She brings home only death and sex, asphyxiates her prey, skilled as a glassblower. She sighs into a bubble and fixes it in place. There is a trace of the surface, a reflection on her abdomen that jitters with the water's movement. Recognition is voluntary. She is cast off in exile. Home becomes eupnea, mooring, anywhere the oxygen can be replenished. She could drown, loose with her airs, so give her the wind. And I'll finish with this poem about a tricky little moth from Madagascar. Hieroglyphica. No one suspects the scaly-winged pickpocket. A mouth like a straw unfolds to drink up the tears of sleeping birds. The moth is turning a wound inside out, release in the orchid and tree bark, stomach contents, grief and disaster. And the dark forests of Madagascar, a transient in imago. This Lepidoptera hunts the lacrimal. Imagine the dry eyes of sparrows, the slender-billed fluff-tail, the cuckoo, all waking with a strange sadness they can't shake. Thank you so much.